Hello, I'm Emiliano Perez, and this is going to be my informative speech with slides. Also, disclaimer: I couldn't. I was this speech does require to put my video camera on the screen. However, I wasn't able to download the video, and it was quite hard. So, and the original video, I did have my video cam up there with my face on it, but once again I couldn't download it, so it was quite hard. So this is the best thing I can do. Today we're going to be talking about the Eternal Diaries, also known as the Nazi Bible. There are many dangerous books out there. We have the Anarchist Cookbook, which is basically, as the name suggests, teaches you how to make bombs, weapons, firearms, etc. The Expedient Homemade Firearms, how to make a 9mm fully automatic submachine gun out of common household items. And the topic of this speech, the Eternal Diaries. But what are the Eternal Diaries? The Eternal Diaries are a piece of raging neo-Nazi propaganda disguised as a sci-fi novel ending with a white supremacist utopia. And an FBI analyst said that the Eternal Diaries is a Bible of the racist right. What makes the books dangerous is that its influence had on real-world events. The diaries have possibly inspired robberies and acts of violence, like the Oklahoma City bombing in 1995. The book is primarily it's about a future fictional historian in the 21st or 22nd century, talking about William Turner, or I think that's his name is. I don't know, but I know his name is Turner, and his diaries. Earl Turner, sorry. And it describes how him and his allies are able to take down the totalitarian government, which is ruled over by Jews, blacks, and every non-white person you can think of. And the whole book is basically Turner and him going on a rampage, taking down the government, and this is being said to us through the fictional historian in this future white utopian society. The author of the book, William Luther Pierce, or Dr. William Luther Pierce, goes by the alias Andrew MacDonald, and quite ironically, he was actually a sympathizer of the civil rights movement of the 60s and equal rights. However, he decided to not subscribe to that form of thinking anymore, solely because the government was way too involved in it. He did believe equal rights were good. However, he immediately lost faith in it because the government was getting involved in the movement. So that's why he kind of got suspicious of it, which could immediately explain why he became more supremacist. And now he believed that the government was doing forced integration with it was doing forced integration by the higher-ups, and that was enforced from the higher-ups. He was also offended by the media and the depiction of segregation as hateful and ignorant. He was offended by how segregationist sympathizers were being depicted as misunderstood, and he would eventually become a member of a white supremacist group and ultimately its leader, or at least the sponsor group leader. And like I said, the plot of the book opens with a fictional historian introducing the diaries of Earl Turner, a 35-year-old soldier of the Great Revolution, and the first diaries happened 16 years before, where an event called the gun raids, where the government takes away all the firearms owned by private citizens. The government is controlled by Jews and employs black people as enforcers for their laws and limits of rights of white citizens, with our protagonist fighting against the quote-unquote oppressive system. Here's a very long quote from the book on the utopia. It says that in the summer and fall of 1999, as the cleansing hurricane of change swept over the continent, cleaning away the few months of refuge in a millennium for alien ideology and century of more profound moral and material decadence, the blood flowed ankle-deep in the streets of many European great cities. Momentarily, as the race traders and offsprings of generations, this genetic breeding and met their common fate. Also, the race traders are white sympathizers towards the government, essentially. Of course, judging by what you've seen in this presentation, you can immediately see what makes this book extremely dangerous. But because it's similar to the anarchist cookbook, the book teaches you how to make guns, how to store guns, how to make explosives in very explicit detail. So this book kind of acts more as a how-to guide on domestic terrorism and racial-based terrorism rather than an actual story. Once again, this is basically a cookbook disguised as a sci-fi novel. And once again, the book inspired real-world events like Robert J. Matthews and his order and his white supremacist order on assault, the ARA or the Aryan Republican Army, the Timothy McVeigh and Oklahoma City bombings. Judging by the names, you can immediately tell what these groups and people subscribed to and possibly what they did, especially the Oklahoma, the most famous one. So in conclusion, the Turner Diaries are a white supremacist wet dream. The book and times feels more like a guidebook on how to take over the government straight up, giving you steps how to make bombs and other terrorist actions. The book and other pieces of Pierce's work are not technically, the thing is about his books is that they're not meant to recruit people. They could recruit people if you're very gullible and can easily be persuaded into this form of ideology. But for the most part, these books and other pieces of his work are meant to be more as motivational pieces for already existing members of his ideology. So yeah, that's basically what they are. You can still find the book. And here's my one source. And thank you. Once again, it's definitely not as perfect as my first video, but hey, it's the best I can do.